I think I've figured out how I can turn this camera around. I can't do it while I'm walking, but this here was the Furnacite plant in between Aberdare and Mountain Ash. It was a coal processing plant, and I think you can see by the scale of the concrete pads and the enormity of the place, it goes for about 1.5 miles into Abrahamon. And this was a huge coal producing area. The reason the soil is black in these parts is due to the large slag heaps, and these produce massive jobs and opportunities for people. There were some environmental concerns, which many of you sort of will probably point out, but what you have now is 3 or 4 generations plus which have never had a job. To use the Welsh phrase, dull as dog shit. Oh, honestly, dull as bat, stupid, never experienced life. With the attitude, I mean, I've heard silly phrases said like, you don't pay TV licence in England and you don't do this, and some people's furthest experience is Cardiff. I mean, it's not saying that is a Welsh opinion, it's just my sort of experience of this area on occasions. Not to say it's everybody. Small pockets just seem to have very small-minded views. And some people never ever leave the valley, which is, I don't know, very strange I suppose. But we could say a lot of Americans don't own passports because they never ever leave America, because the place is so vast. But then Wales isn't. I mean, I can drive across the country in 4 hours from the tip of North Wales to South Wales. Say from Cardiff to North Wales, 4 hours. I mean, that's in worst case scenario. And this is what's left of a once proud nation that powered the world at one point. Welsh coal during the late Victorian period powered everything and anything, and it's a real shame to see what's left of. There's endless pits and remnants of what was Wales, and now it's really sad to see what's left. Endless generations. It's got the worst case of unemployment, and it's a real shame. Such a beautiful country with, how do we describe the people? Different, very different. I live here for a reason. It's like going back 50 years in time, for good and bad. It's a very strange experience. Primarily there's way more good than any other bad, because that's why I choose to live here. I mean, the sheer landscape, the quality of the air, the fact you can move, there's space. What was left of the industry here. A lot of these areas have been turned into like national parks, or this is not one example, but there are one in Aberdare of the country park, which has been turned into a real beauty spot, which is a total resounding success. And it's just a very strange place. As I say, it's like going back in time. These blogs aren't always as easy as people make out, because sometimes when I talk to yourself without interaction with other people, not always as easy as it first looks. And I've got to give respect to these people that blog for a living. Very skillful and very well planned and well thought out to put all this into context before they even leave. And those that can improvise on the spot, you've got to give it to them. Very sort of a natural way of doing it. And it's interesting to the viewer. So I'm really dabbling in these really to teach myself how to do an experiment, but we'll cover a few things like Welsh phrases. What's the matter, man? M-U-N. I was sitting here by myself. Is there something wrong with your ears? Lots of little phrases are used around here, which are unique to the area, colloquial language. And I think anybody who thinks that because they speak English they will understand UK culture because they share commonalities with UK culture, well, I think you're in for a shock. The meaning and the use of words changes, and the interpretation of words, because you understand the English language as an English language and an American English language. The two are similar but not the same. So it's just something to be considered. I mean, I watch a lot of American travel videos when they come to the UK and the culture shock, and I think people are surprised by the culture shock. Well, we all speak English, we're all the same. And I think because the UK is just a much older culture, it really does surprise people. Traditions, maybe some outdated ways of doing things, but they remain within culture. And I suppose to a country like the States, they seem very strange. Can't imagine this place at one stage being such a busy industrial hub with railway lines and trains coming through, huge buildings, cranes and a power station. Could you imagine the infrastructure was here? And one could only imagine by looking at the remains of the steel I-beams and what was here to imagine how it would have been. I'll try and keep these videos a bit shorter, and then when I pick something of interest, it's all a bit samey at the moment, I'll start again.